frick. Oh, threat. My, oh my God. It just doesn't get any easier, does it? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Dina Haynes, and I've been reading to you my book called Neesa, the first in the original reality book series, which is available on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited. If you've been watching, this is it. This is the last chapter of the story. And if you're new, what the heck are you doing here? This is the last chapter of the story. If you're just coming to this video now and you haven't been watching from the beginning, then definitely go back. There is a link in the video as well as down below in the description, and I'll meet you back here at the end. It'll look just like this. You're going to want to pause that video, but before you do that, be sure to like the video, hit subscribe, as well as the little bell icon. I have some manifestation videos that I've just started and more to come, and you're not going to want to miss it, because who isn't trying to manifest a better life in this pandemic apocalypse? For those of you who have been watching, you know what time it is. It's spoiler time. So all you newbies, now is the time to pause. Let's get to the spoilers in 3, 2, 1. All right, what just happened? In this story. Oh, so we got to see Annabelle. We got to see Annabelle. Oh no, we got to see Neesa confront Annabelle. It wasn't really a confrontation, obviously, but there's still some hurt feelings there, and it doesn't feel like it's completely resolved. We're about to go into the last chapter, so we'll see how far it goes with that. The next book is going to be about Annabelle. If you would like me to read that book here on YouTube, drop a comment below and I will do it. Why not? This has been so much fun for me, and I would love to give you the same experience again, but with the next book, which is so good. Wait till you guys read it, listen to it, watch it, whatever you're going to do. You can get it right now on Amazon if you don't want to wait. But until then, like I said before, I'm going to be doing some manifestation videos. I might be taking a little break right now because I'm about to move. And if you watch my latest I can't even say it. If you watched my latest manifestation video, then you know that it is one of the things that I manifested. So I'm going to be doing a lot of packing and cleaning and moving into my wonderful new apartment. I'm so excited. But I'm going to come right back here. I might still drop a couple videos in the meantime. So stay tuned. Make sure you're subscribed. And let's move on to the epilogue. Oh, I kind of want to drag it out, but no, we got to get it done. Epilogue. This is from Neesa's perspective. And let's wrap this baby up. My mom said, "Thank goodness you found a man who's comfortable being with a woman who makes so much more money than him." "Mom, seriously?" I said. Reuben might have gotten used to my mom's unfiltered opinions, but his family probably hadn't. I jerked my head in Uncle Eddie's direction and made a disapproving face while my mother laughed, unmoved by her impression. The three of us sat on the patio while Reuben and Aunt Brenda worked in the kitchen. My mom said, "I mean that in a good way. I don't know many men who make it work as well as you two." She raised her margarita to me. Uncle Eddie said, "Well, I guess it runs in the family. I do all right, but I thought Brenda was crazy when she told me she wanted to open a business washing women's faces." Aunt Brenda called out from the kitchen through the open sliding doors, "It's the beauty industry, hun. And men like it too. Don't pretend I haven't given you a facial before. Who doesn't want to look their best?" She went back to fussing with Reuben about his meat rub. He had gained a whole new set of parents after all. Brenda was adamant about us calling them aunt and uncle, though mom and dad seemed more fitting for the roles they played in our lives now. Uncle Eddie said, "All I care about is the income. We manage to take a trip 2 times a year on our salaries combined, without accruing debt. I'll cheers to that any day of the week." Clarissa stirred under the baby blanket, and I peeked to find she was finished feeding. Once I tucked myself back into my bra and tank top, my mom held her hands out. "Grandma's turn." Claire insisted I give the baby a cool name, which meant her name, but I thought it more fitting to pay tribute to her and my mother Melissa. Reuben and I came up with it together, mindful that the K was also a small tribute to his mother Kitty. The doorbell rang. I said, "I'll get it." I ran in past the kitchen to go answer the door. Claire pushed her way in, stomach first, demanding to be let in before she gave birth on my front step. I said, "You better not," as I pulled back the heavy wooden panel and observed the very real threat in her words. Claire had managed to squeeze her massive belly into a bodycon dress, and she teetered on her usual high heels to boot. She leaned in for a kiss and gingerly stepped inside with Calvin close behind, appearing ready to catch her if she fell. I said, "Thanks for coming, guys. You can put your dishes in the kitchen." Annabelle caught the door before I closed it on her. I said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see you there. Come on in." I smiled until her back was turned and then let my true disappointment show. Reuben had invited her in an effort to bridge the gap, widening between the two of us. The door was almost closed again when I heard a shout. "Hold up!" Sergeant Brian Carter and his wife Alicia trotted forward. They made a lovely pair with her lithe blonde fairness and his dark, sturdy frame. He said, "I hope you haven't started the grill yet. I brought my special rub with me." With a wink, Alicia said, "Ignore him, Neesa. He thinks he discovered grilling." Carter said, "Babe, I never said I discovered it, just that I perfected it. Now show some respect." I laughed. Reuben's friends had become as close as any of my others. Alicia in particular had been my go-to person for baby advice. We hugged and kissed each other on the cheek before Brian stopped at the threshold. His face took on a somber expression. "You keeping my boy in line?" At first I thought he was talking about work. Since Reuben's private investigating license was still suspended, he and I had agreed to collaborate on a housing project. I had invested some land to build a small community of tiny houses, and Reuben had adopted the role of project manager. Then I realized Carter meant the comment on a more personal level. I smiled. "Of course. I know who to call if he acts out, though." Carter said, "That's what I like to hear." He bent his tall frame low and kissed me on the cheek. Tragedy had caused Reuben and me to forge closer connections with the people in our lives than if we had met under normal circumstances. Brian was a boisterous mountain of a man, and the occasion felt even more like a family affair with him added to the mix. This get-together was Aunt Brenda's idea. Since I had been in no condition to fly to her family's reunion a few months ago, she decided to have a reunion of sorts here in L.A. Plus, I knew she was a little starstruck and hoping for me to show her some secret hot spots for celebrity spying. Surprise of all surprises, my brother Nick had decided to come, though I knew it was my persuasion that brought him around. Ever since he'd gotten here, he had spent most of his time in the guest room/office. He and my mom weren't on the best of terms since she'd started dating a guy from our high school. He was a few years ahead of me, which made him super young for my mom, but her life was all about not wasting chances now. Nick was too young to have gone to school with the guy, but in a small town like Hannibal, it was humiliating nonetheless. I went to the office and knocked on the door. He didn't respond, but it was my home. I peeked in. I said, "All the guests are here. Why don't you come out and meet everyone?" He tilted his eyes up from the computer screen, his hazel gaze piercing mine. "Is she out there?" He was referring to our mother. He had even gone so far as to book a different flight from hers. I said, "You know she is. It's ridiculous to keep acting this way, Nick. She's going to date whoever she wants. Don't you want her to be happy?" He said, "Yeah, but why couldn't she choose one of a million guys her age to be happy with?" "It's embarrassing, Neesa. You have no idea since you live way out here." I said, "Maybe it's time to get your own place. You're 24, for Christ's sakes. I guarantee you'll have a different perspective once you do." He scoffed, and I continued, "In the meantime, I have some important friends I want you to meet." He said, "Isn't one of them the wife of the guy who tried to kill you?" I sighed, exasperated. Nick could be so stubborn. I said, "Please, Nick, don't say anything. No one but you knows how I feel about Belle, and I want to keep it that way. Can you do this for me? It's important. Hey, you liked Ben when we came to visit after Christmas. You can hang out with him." Nick said, "Your sarcasm does not amuse me." He closed the laptop and stood up to his full 6'1" height, walked over to me and gave me a hug. When I pulled back, I caressed his ear and tugged on it. "I don't mean to interrupt, but you know what time it is? It's business time. Time to hit that like button, subscribe, hit the little bell icon, and let's get back to the story." He looked like my polar opposite, the spitting image of our Caucasian mother with his dark blonde hair and hazel eyes. People didn't often put us in the same family tree. The fact that we had the same jawline, cheekbones, and full lips went unnoticed. I said, "Thanks for doing this. Your sacrifice is duly noted." He ruffled my mohawk, which flopped over and almost covered the shaved parts, and we walked out with my arms around his waist. Aunt Brenda called out to him, "Where have you been hiding yourself? Boy, get your butt over here and help me mix this potato salad. Put those long arms of yours to use." Annabelle turned around and nearly toppled over. I said, "Hey everybody, this is my brother Nick. Nick, this is..." I named off all the people in the room he hadn't met yet. Annabelle gasped, "Oh my God, I nearly had a heart attack. You look like Jordan Allen." "Who?" he asked with a scowl. Much like me, he was terrible at hiding his true feelings. I looked up at Nick and smirked. It never occurred to me. Annabelle is obsessed with that actor on Paranormal. Reuben came in from outside, herding my mom and Uncle Eddie in front of him. With everyone huddled around the island, the kitchen suddenly made me claustrophobic. Reuben announced, "Okay, folks, now that everyone's here, I have to confess it's not by coincidence. You all are the most important people to Neesa and me." I had no clue what he was talking about as he squeezed his way through the bodies to stand by me. He said, "I have never had family before, but Neesa here taught me that family is not just a network of people related to you by blood, but also by friendship. We have a bond with each one of you that I hope will last forever. But I didn't invite you here just to showcase Brian's grilling skills, as much as my old partner would like to think." Carter said, "Why you gotta call me out like that, man?" Reuben said, "Hush. Most importantly, I want you all to know how lucky I am to have found Neesa." He squeezed my shoulders from behind, and I looked up when I heard the emotion locked in his throat. "This girl, this woman, saved me. And I hope she'll let me spend the rest of our lives returning the favor." He spun me around him before he knelt on one knee, right there on the kitchen floor, and brought his hand up to reveal a small box. Emotion clogging her voice, Brenda said, "Eddie, pass me my phone, quick." My eyes got wide, and I stepped back into Nick, who whispered in my ear, "Gotcha." I snapped my head over my shoulder toward him, and he laughed. I said, "You what? How did you..." It dawned on me that Reuben was the person who talked him into coming to LA. I was the only one confiding in my little brother. Reuben said, "Over here, Neesa. He's not proposing to you. I am." I whipped my head around and placed a hand over my mouth. Laughter filled the room, but quickly quieted down as everyone waited to hear the famous words. I would have been surprised if Reuben actually knew what they were. He opened the box, showing the sparkling ring inside. I got the impression of something gold and shimmery, but my eyes stayed on him. The love shining through his unshed tears was more brilliant than any diamond. He said, "This right here is the fairy tale, and I'm signed on to go the distance with you." Those words he spoke weren't famous, but they sounded familiar all the same. In fact, they were more meaningful to me than any other words in existence because I had said them to him when we were dealing with his DNA test results. He remembered. He said, "Neesa, will you marry me?" I choked up. Blinking hard to clear the tears from my eyes, I whispered, "This is unreal." A tear slipped out of the corner of his eye, and I wiped it before anyone saw. I said, "I love you, Ben. Yes, I will marry you." With trembling hands, he plucked the ring from its box and slid it onto my finger. A chorus of ahs erupted around us when he swept me up in a big hug and kissed me soundly. He set me down, the room erupting in noise as he pressed his forehead to mine. He said, I was so scared. I said, are you crazy? I shook him, tears streaming down my cheeks. It's you and me forever. Okay. Oh, so that's it. That's the end of Neesa. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please drop your thoughts in the comments below. And once again, let me know if you think I should read the next book called Annabelle. It's Annabelle's story. So if you've gotten this far, I imagine you're wanting to know what's going to happen with her. And just a little hint, Neesa appears in it too. You might see some redemption between those two. So you can always get Annabelle now on Amazon and Kindle Unlimited. You can actually start reading it as soon as you finish this video. And if you want to see me read it on Facebook, let me know. And stay tuned for my manifestation videos, where I'm teaching you and other people how to manifest by how to manifest by scripting. And I will see you then.